Всем привет, вы на канале Let's. Сегодня игра под названием What Remains of Edith Finch. Переводится как «Что осталось от Edith Finch». Приключенческая игра. Куда-то мы плывем. Edith Finch.
A lot of this isn't going to make sense to you, and I'm sorry about that. I'm just going to start at the beginning, with the house.
Так, куда-то мы приплыли. Какой-то дом впереди. Лес. Какой-то угрюмый.
I lived here until I was 11, but I wasn't allowed inside half the rooms. Inside the mailbox were bills from 7 years ago, marked urgent, open immediately. I hadn't been back since my brother Lewis's funeral.
Интересно.
In her will, my mother left me a key, but didn't tell me what it unlocked. Maybe she thought I'd know. Or she thought the mystery would be enough to bring me back.
Жутковатое место.
The truth is, even after I inherited the house, I never thought I'd come back to it. But now I had questions about my family that only the house knew the answers to. The woods around the house have always been uncomfortably silent, as if they're about to say something but never do.
Так, бегать нельзя. Нельзя бегать. Только ходить. Ну вот и дом. Интересная постройка.
As a child, the house made me uncomfortable in a way I couldn't put into words. Now, as a 17-year-old, I knew exactly what those words were. I was afraid of the house.
Надеюсь, не сильно страшно будет.
I hoped the key might unlock the front door. It didn't.
Так, ищем другую дверь. Видок, конечно, еще тот. Я бы не хотел здесь жить. Ну вот и дверь. Даже так.
Crawling through the doggy door used to be a lot easier when I was 11.
Вот мы в доме. Гараж. Что-нибудь есть интересное в гараже?
The power had been turned off the night we left. For the first time in years, I felt like I was home. But instead of a family, there were just memories of one.
Так, а что стало с семьей-то? Все умерли?
Like how after Louis started working at the cannery, we all got sick of eating salmon. Except our cat, Molly.
Что за шум? Это ветер так дует?
The table was still a wreck from the night we left. It was like a bomb had gone off, killing everyone but sparing the furniture.
Интересный домик.
My mom was the only one of us who could imagine Great-Grandma Edie living in a nursing home. Nothing in the house looked abnormal. There was just too much of it, like a smile with too many teeth. Even the fireplace had a story. Edie told me the bricks came from the original house, after it sank.
Первого затонувшего дома. Это как? Слушайте, ну домик такой атмосферненький.
Great-Grandpa Sven built a music box for Barbara, along with the rest of the house. Mom always told me to stay out of the basement, so I wasn't too surprised when the key didn't fit.
Так, значит, у нас в подвале что-то интересное будет. Какие-то секреты. Угу. Дверь запечатанная, даже запененная. Интересно, что там? Пойдемте на второй этаж.
After Milton disappeared, Mom sealed up all the bedrooms. Then Edie retaliated and drilled peepholes. As a kid, I just assumed every house had peepholes and sealed rooms you weren't allowed inside of.
Ванная. Григорий. 1976 по 77. А здесь кто? Калвин. 50 по 61.
My Grandpa Sam spent 7 years sharing a room with his dead brother, Calvin.
Так, брат умер. Калвин. Или Калвин. Калвин. Так, это что за дверь?
The last time I was in Edith Sr.'s room, I was 10 and she was painting my portrait.
Странная семейка, конечно, была. Так, давайте вот в эту дверь посмотрим. Молли.
Molly always seemed like a girl I could imagine being friends with, if she hadn't died in 1947. I spent a lot of time playing in Great Uncle Walter's room. I think my mom sometimes regretted not sealing it up.
Чё у вас тут, блядь,
Louis
творилось?
told me there were secret passages, but I never believed him.
Угу.
Turns out, my mom was really good at keeping secrets. Now it was time to find out what my mom had been afraid of. From the paintings on the wall, it was clear my brother Milton had been here before me.
Жутковато.
Reading this, maybe it sounds like I had a plan. But I had no idea what was behind that door. Just like I had no idea where all this was gonna lead.
Так, это чья спальня? Молли, как раз таки.
I got the sense Edie had spent a lot of time here. Before my mom sealed the doors. I grew up looking at Molly's room through the peephole. Molly's gerbil had a tiny bedroom with its own even tinier gerbil cage.
Ой, нифига себе, квартирка для хомячка. Так, что тут еще интересного?
Being inside for the first time, I felt like I'd stepped behind a painting.
December 13th, 1947. Dear Diary, I'll be gone soon, but I wanted to tell somebody about what's gonna happen. It started when Mom sent me to bed without dinner. I woke up and I was starving, so I looked around for something to eat.
Так, а мы сейчас играем за Молли. Прикольно.
The gerbil food was dry, but I didn't mind it.
Ха, блядь, у хомяка морковь съела.
My Halloween candy was all gone.
Блядь, ребенка без конфет оставили, совсем охуели. Чё за пиздец? Туман или что это? Туман, наверное. Дайте ребенку пожрать.
I kept eating and eating.
Угу. Зубную пасту еще жрем. Нормально. Фу.
I ate a lot of things that night. Then I heard chirping outside my window. It was a barn swallow going back to her nest. I reached out for her. And suddenly, I was a
Нихуя
cat.
себе. Вот это приколы, блядь.
I tried to be quiet, but the bird was really scared.
Охуеть. Что за наркомания, блядь? Еще и мурчу. Оп. Иди сюда, сраная птица. Где ты? Жрать хочу. Сволочь. Где она? Так, куда дальше-то?
Mom and Dad
Ah.
didn't even look at me.
Где птица? Хочу жрать.
I jumped and I almost got her. I could tell she was getting really tired. Now I was up in the big tree. I promised Dad I wouldn't climb it anymore. All I cared about was eating that mama bird. I gobbled her up. And suddenly, I was an owl. First, all I heard was the wind. Then I heard little teeth nibbling in the grass. Rabbits.
Так, что, теперь птица, да? Зайцы. Ебать, вот это там кроет, блядь, что ж.
I imagined his face looking up and seeing mine through my talons. I swallowed him up.
Ибо
and I
страшная
didn't
ты,
chew
Молли.
one bit.
Очень страшная
Now
девочка.
find something bigger.
Это из зубной пасты, наверное, так накрыло, блядь.
A mama rabbit. She was almost too big to carry. I started choking, but I couldn't stop eating. And suddenly, I was a shark.
И? Блядь, что за хуйня происходит, блядь?
I rolled off the cliff and into the ocean. Now, I was hungrier than ever.
Корабль какой-то, что-то плавает.
I wanted fat, juicy seals. I tore off her flipper and it tasted really good.
Бля, управление, конечно, тут хреновато, именно акулой, блядь.
Grabbed on tight. When I was so hungry, I jumped out of the water. When I opened my eyes, everything had changed.
Блять, это кто, змея? Или что это такое?
Now I was a monster, and I smelled people everywhere. I was big, but I moved real quiet.
Ебать ужасы.
I wanted to stop, but also I didn't. After the last passenger, I was still hungry. And to cross the water, we smelled something new. Something I had to have, so I swam towards it. I slithered onto the sand, and the good smell went into an old pipe. I got closer and closer.
К себе же в комнату. Хомяк. Да? Она сейчас съест своего хомяка?
All my stomach started growling. And suddenly, I was me again. I held my breath for a long time, but I couldn't hear anything. I think it's waiting for me to fall asleep. But it's not going to wait much longer. It needs to feed, and we both know I will be delicious.
Бля, наркомания полнейшая.
I'm not sure if I believed all of that, but I'm sure Edie would have.
Так Молли. Так, а где кошка сейчас мурлыкает? Это не Молли, как раз таки?
This will be obvious later, but my mom never told me any of these stories. Edie would have, but Mom didn't like bringing up the past. Though, when we adopted a stray kitten, she was the one who named it Molly. I spent a lot of time in Great-Grandma Edie's room. Her room was like a museum. For 500 years, the Finches have been famous throughout Norway for their fortune and misfortune. Odin Finch buries the latest victims of the family curse, his wife Ingeborg and their newborn son, Johan. On January 7th, 1937, he set sail with his family and his house, hoping to leave the curse behind. But 40-foot waves off the coast of Washington send the house and Odin to the bottom of the sea. Odin's daughter Edie, with husband Sven and baby Molly, step ashore on their new home, Orcas Island. Odin Finch is the first to be buried in the new family cemetery. His daughter Edie is already dreaming of a new Finch house. Whatever's wrong with this family, it goes back a long ways.
Воробей.
Edie knit me a new pair of gloves. Louis died a week before we left, but Edie had already started to memorialize him. When Edie told people Sven was killed by a dragon, she could also have said he was building a dragon-shaped slide that collapsed. She could have, but she didn't. Even in her 90s, sometimes Edie seemed a lot younger than my mother.
Вот это туалет.
The only trace Grandpa Sam's first wife Kay left on the house was the pink bathroom. It was a pretty big trace.
Заметы не то слово. Так, куда дальше?
Edie gave a big interview about a mole man living under the Finch house. My mom was furious.
Еще ключик. Точнее, книжка под замком. Все открывается одним ключом.
There's a secret in this bathroom. It's in the last place you would look. It isn't in the cupboard.
Так, стоп.
It's hidden in this book.
Ух.
Sven gave Sam an old camera he'd refurbished. He never put it down.
Так, это чья комната? А, деда или кто там, прадед с этим жил-то, с братом ее. Ну, комната, конечно, прикольная.
I knew Grandpa Sam had a twin. And that he never talked about him. I guess my grandpa didn't like history any more than my mom did.
How I Want to Remember My Brother by Sam Finch. The thing I remember is that when he made up his mind, that was it.
Так, играем за брата. Сломана нога. Качаемся на качельках.
My brother said he'd die before he ate another mushroom. And he did.
Понятно, все они под грибами были. Ну все, слазь, не хочу я кататься больше. Так, это кто фотографирует?
At Barbara's funeral, we swore we'd never be afraid again. And he wasn't. I think Calvin always wanted to fly.
Sam! Calvin! Dinner's ready! Coming!
But that day, he finally made up his mind to do it. I told him going around was impossible. Maybe if I hadn't said that.
Calvin! I'm not gonna tell you again!
Maybe if the wind hadn't picked up. Then maybe he'd still be here. But I doubt it. I think he'd already made up his mind.
Сейчас, давай
That's what I
мертвую
want to
петлю.
remember about my brother.
Че, сейчас ветка сломается, да, и он улетит нахуй. Хуеся. Опа, мертвая петля.
The day he made up his mind to fly. And he did.
Все, мы полетели под грибами.
Calvin's story felt strangely familiar. When I was younger, I remember trying to do the exact same thing.
Давайте, наверное, здесь закончим. Продолжим в следующей серии. Всем, кому понравилось, ставьте лайки, подписывайтесь на канал, оставляйте комментарии. Всем до свидульки.